Hi, welcome to One Word a Day. I'm Sophie, your pilot into the universe of Chinese. We are going to continue our discovery journey in learning and unpacking one new Chinese expression a day. And sometimes I would come up with new ideas, even if I did an interpretation or unpacking a character in a certain way. But in another day, after I have come by so many episodes and learn new ways to understand the Chinese characters, and then I may come up with new theories about how to understand a certain character. So last time we talked about 动不动. 动不动 is about it's a Chinese way to say it's not about moving actually, it's about the frequency. In fact, 动不动 means 动 more than 不动. It's more likely than not. So frequently somebody would do something. That's 动不动. Okay, so today we continue with 动 in 伤筋动骨. 伤筋动骨 got, okay, this episode got some chewy elements that are concepts in Chinese, concrete, objective, physical objects in the world, like 筋 and 骨. These are like daily related to human body. And then 伤 and 动 are two status of the 筋 and the 骨. 伤筋动骨 basically talking about you got injury, that your tendons are injured, and then your bones are, when we say 动骨, we say moved, like bones probably kind of like your shoulder joint got displaced, disjointed, something like that. So it's like moved out of its usual place. So 伤筋动骨, 伤 is the character that I want to do this re-understanding of something. A quick recap of what I said before. 伤 in 伤春悲秋, a few episodes ago, not a few, like dozens of episodes ago, when we talked about how, poets, people of sensitivity like to feel the melancholy or, like to verbalize their emotional changes over the season. So 春 and 秋, spring and fall, these two seasons are very triggering to some people of certain sentiments. So 伤 and the 悲 are two kind of emotions, but then I did distinguish 伤 as more physical injury versus 悲 as more emotional injury. And 伤, last time I talked about, okay, this is looks like a wing, right? Looks like a bird's wing. And then I couldn't explain like what this, why there is like a roofing sign on top of the sun symbol, like how to explain that. So all of a sudden I got the idea of how to put this reasonably together. That's relatable and also like we can examine it through human logic or in the context of this agrarian society's habits or customs. Okay, so the left side, again, human figure symbol, no question about that. The right side, okay, so this symbol, instead of a bird or dead animal sideways, four legs showing gesture, even if it did show, it did occur as such symbol in other contexts, but in these few characters packed together, that when I was tracking down to each individual ones, this, when it comes to the origin, we only see the bottom, like above the ground there, above this horizontal line. I mean, below the horizontal line. This actually is 物. In Chinese character, 物 means negation, no. And in its original meaning, it wasn't used as a negation. It was a symbol of flagging, like a flag. So, okay, in contemporary Chinese, when we say, I mean, not Chinese, in language use, when we say we flag something, means something is suspicious, right? We kind of have to mark it as something suspicious. We keep notice, like a close track of something when we say we flag something. But in ancient, like 2 or 3, no, actually more than 3,000 years ago, flagging was that time's signaling from the authority, from the people in power, to the people that this ruler was ruling. So the flagging depends on the patterns on the flag. And then the people under the rule would understand, is it peacetime or wartime? Do they need to act? Do they need to take action, or they can be at leisure? So it's almost like a calling for war or some, national matters that need to notify people on the land. Like basically, it's agrarian society, right? So people are tied to the land. Usual times they're farmers, but in time of urgency, national security time, they can convert, become warriors for that time. So this flagging sign are certain patterns, and people research, scholars say this is a 3-stripe flag. So these are the edges, and then there are kind of 3 blocks within the flag. So that's what they call 3-stripe ones, and 3 is one of the ways of patterning of there. So I guess this flag is a signaling, so it's a symbol. So there are a message that are commonly agreed to pass, and the 3. Well, I didn't get to know like what 3 stripes exactly to mean, but there are different number of stripes, like 7 up to 9. Like 9 probably a little bit harder to distinguish, but this came from flag, and somehow in the history of language, occasionally some characters, because this flag is only a few strokes, right? It's kind of easy to write. So it was borrowed, meaning it wasn't grounded in the meaning, not a semantic meaning, borrowed into to mean something else. There is definitely a logic jump or semantic jump over there. So this symbol, this character and the sound, the symbol that originally means the flag, borrowed to mean the negation. Okay, so long story short, the negation there. And then we have the sun symbol there, right? And then this horizontal line and the sun symbol actually packed together. That means the sun above the horizon, meaning daytime, negation, and then under the roof. Does this picture start to form in the mind now? Okay, so ancient times, majority of the labor force or people or population tied to their soil, tied to farming activity. So the expectation is when the sun rises above the horizon, it's the time to be the man of the house, at least, out in the field to start working, right? So if somebody, when the sun is up, it's still under the roof, and there is this negation, like not working, or is unusual, like not behaving as expected, right? There is a negation there. When the sun rises, no work, still stay under the roof. That's an indirect way to describe the symptoms of being injured, because almost like there's only one logical reason to infer based on somebody on a normal day going out farming, because that's their livelihood, that's super important, that's their, in our contemporary 9-to-5 job, right? And actually they probably don't distinguish the weekend either. Like every day, maybe. We don't exactly know the ancient farming practice, but the expectation is negated here. So not out in the field. And one logical explanation is that person got injured. Therefore, that person stayed under the roof when the sun is already above the ground. And there is this negation. Whew. Okay, I think this is a more reasonable explanation of why all these symbols together to describe this kind of side view. So over here, it didn't show directly the wound or injury because that kind of inside is hard to diagnose, right? It just by behavior level to observe, like a negation of the daily pattern and not going out there. That means injured. Okay, so there is a little bit logic extension there. Okay, Jin have this, you see this symbol? This symbol, they are sharing. And we have this symbol and this symbol sharing. I'm happy to show like in one frame, recurring symbols in there. So you can see that symbols using different characters, they kind of carry similar or different functions, but they make up of the story of the meaning of the character. So this symbol is a raking or plowing, something with sharp edges, and we only use 3 as representation because the rakes may have multiple, and we don't need to show all of that. 3 is enough to show that this is the farming tool, and this probably is a handheld that you can rake it across the field. So that's one major farming tool. And this tool then got connected to muscle power because who operates such tool? It got to be man. It got to be with power, can go through hard labor. So that's power. Then muscle power, right? Then here, this kind of omega sign in Greek letter, right, with 2 horizontal lines. 2 horizontal lines kind of like going this way too. It's not like flat because still back then the Chinese characters was kind of like based in reality, in like depicting the physical world in a realistic way, relatively abstract way. So like in contemporary, you see it becomes horizontal lines. We don't draw that curves anymore. Things are super, stiff, square, easy to draw, but this is the original look. And this look means meat, means the physical muscle on the body. And so these 2 with a little bit curved thing looks like the stripes or the way your muscles organize, like there is a curve there. So meat and power, muscle power, something related to your muscle, to your body, right? And then the bamboo sign. So these are just depicting of the bamboo. Bamboo as a special plant in Chinese culture got a special treatment. Normally, our plant symbol is a concave shape with a vertical line that depicts kind of how normally grass growing upward, right? Their leaves are sun facing, but bamboos instead, and their leaves are kind of draping down. So that's a distinctive bamboo look. So 2 of them paired together, that's bamboo. And okay, what's bamboo has to do with muscles? There are a lot of times in Chinese characters creation to use natural things like non-human body parts here, bamboo, to kind of transfer their feature, their quality to use it on human. So here is kind of like the function of this meaty. Meat simply means something on your physical body, and that's related to muscle. And then this bamboo gives you the tension, the springiness to your muscle. So that's kind of infer to what makes your muscle power that on your body that's have the same kind of a springy quality as if they are bamboo. And those parts we can infer as tendon, like those are the connectors that can allow you to stretch, allow you to form your body in a mobile way. It's not robotic, even if in today the robots are getting much better in their mobility, but humans are especially, we're endowed with such quality of tendons so that we can stretch our body and twist and come up with all kinds of shapes while keeping balance. and all that attributed to tendon. We have this mechanism on our body, or these parts on our body, so that our body can behave in a certain way. So that's 筋. And 骨 is, okay, meat, right? And the meat next to the joint. So this is a depiction of the joint. And it's kind of a zoom in view of, okay, this is meat with some joints over there next to something. And that kind of draw your attention to what meat is next to. Bones. So that's a kind of inferral. Because if we draw the bones without meat, it's hard to see what those are, like without a context. So now we have the meat over there, especially like human body meat. Sometimes it's not human body meat, but in this context, it's human meat or muscle, then next to something. And then we understand, oh, okay, this is bones on our body. So 筋骨, now we know, 动 don't have this power symbol, muscle power, and the left side is 重. Of course, it acts as the sound maker, but the sound maker has its meaning carried over as well. That's explainable. So we have this top is a side view human figure. So it can almost see here and here, similar structure, but because it's a vertically stacked, like 4 symbols stack up together. So this human figure thing got only so small space to display, right? So it kind of disproportioned. So shaped into this, but this and this human figure are the same thing. Okay, and then below it is a tree symbol. So we have concave, convex, concave with a vertical line connection. So the major structure of that is a tree symbol or a wood symbol. And then we have the sun symbol here. You can see the same sun symbol, oval shape with a horizontal line, that's sun. So here the image is a sun behind the tree. That's when the sun just rises up. And then we have the soil symbol. So first horizontal line is the ground level, and then vertical line is kind of like the plant going down. So without drawing the full plant, we just draw something is growing under the ground, and then there's horizontal line to mean, okay, this is what I mean. It's below the ground where something is growing, and that's our soil symbol. Okay, so we have this, okay, just like the sun symbol in here, there is a cultural expectation of a man going out to the field when the sun is above the ground. So here is when the sun is behind the tree. It's in similar effect, right? Because when the sun rises, kind of embedded on the trunk of the tree, that means the sun just barely get out of the horizon. You can see the sun behind the tree, not rising too high yet. So that's the time when men are supposed to be out in the field. So indeed, we have this person symbol, right? And then on top of the soil, like in between the sun, like the setting of kind of storytelling, right? The setting and how the timing when men or humans are expected to be on top of the soil. And that all that packed up together means heavy in contemporary Chinese. But it came from this farming activity of early morning start work. It's muscle. It's a lot of work. And heavy, I guess we can infer as contemporarily, we only have a small farming population. That is a little bit difficult to imagine when farming was far less automated. It's a lot of manual work, and it's day-to-day toiling over the field when the productivity was not as high as today's farming. So that, when the sun just rises above, that person already standing on the soil. And we can expect that that's like a long day of work ahead of that person. And that's a sense of heaviness, like heavy labor, heavy muscle. And that makes it move. Why? Because that heaviness gives you the momentum. Like you have to like in the expectation here is when the sun is above the horizon or behind the tree, that's when you're supposed, this human figure on top of the soil supposed to start moving, right? Probably way before the sunrise time, that the laborers are supposed to start working on the field already, and then paired with this muscle power, this tool symbol, that means it's moving. It gives the momentum, like somebody is moving using that tool together. It's move. Okay, so 伤筋动骨 is a Chinese way to say we use two major body parts that construct as the main, like a motion, our motor capacity, right? So we can move because we have both tendons and the bones provide a structural capacity for us to move. So when these are injured, 伤 is injured, that you're out of the field, you cannot, you're under the roof, you cannot work for that day. And then 动 is when things are shifted, it's not in its original place. And then that's when things got injured. I put ballet dancers' feet here to kind of zoom in on this muscle and the tendon, because they are, it's exemplary in contemporary, like in our life. So we don't really have a much chance to see farmers or agricultural workers, but we can see performers who are trained to perform such almost unhumanly, like at least not to layperson, like many years of training to achieve such physique. And we can see their feet, their tendons, their muscles, right? Very impressive. But behind that training and the result we see are many risks or chances to get injured. So that's commonly occurring for whoever works with their body a lot. Like we are sedentary workers in front of a computer all day long. That's low. Well, I have to say it's not a low injury possibility, but injured differently, like our backs or things like that, right? But people who work with their body, with their physiques to present a view, then they are kind of pushing to the edge of human body capacity, right? So that's when injury more likely to happen. So I'm using them as an example of Chinese way to say 伤筋动骨. Cash into the currency of thinking about what are they with Sophie?